Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Now in today's we're going to look at 5 tips here that are going to really help you to improve your snooker. I would say that 90% of players get these things wrong. So if you can understand these concepts, you're going to understand controlling the white better, and that's going to help you play better snooker. So the first shot we're going to look at is the stun shot. Now I would say most players think, okay, I know what a stun shot is. It's just below centre. And then I play the shot, I push through, I play my shot, and the white ball will stop. You get that stun effect. So, and that is correct, yeah. We're making the cue ball skid backwards just a little bit, and that means that, yeah, if I hit below centre and I play my shot, I get that nice stun effect with the cue ball. But you can also play a stun shot lower and slower. So it isn't just one particular point on the cue ball. So if I go much lower, so if I hit almost like I'm going to play a screw shot and then go softer, so still push through but just go softer. Can you see the way the cue ball has still stopped but it's nice and soft? Now this is very, very useful. So I'll just show you that one more time. So I'm almost playing like I'm playing a screw shot, but I'm just hitting the ball softly. So nice and soft. And the red has gone in, the white has stopped. Why is that important? Well, we know about this 90-degree line when we play stun shots. So let's have a look at this one. So I've got my line to the pocket, and then the cue ball will come off at 90 degrees to this line if I play a stun shot. Now, of course, let's say I go just below centre and a medium power shot to get this effect. So if I do that and I hit just below centre, medium power, the cue ball has kind of done what I wanted but gone too far. So the reason this concept is so useful is I want to be able to hit it softer but still get the stun line. So on this shot now, if I go right the way to the bottom of the cue ball, just like we saw we doing on the red shot that was on the blue spot, right down to the bottom of the cue ball, but I go softer, so if I don't hit so hard, the white still takes its nice little stun line, but obviously that time you can see I've left a nice shot on the black. So very, very important to know that the stun shot is not just below centre and hard, it can be lower down and softer as well. Now, tip number 2, and I see this commonly, is that players say when the pot is straight, just aim to pop the cue ball and the object ball will get in the way. So if I got a shot like this shot on the pink here, players would say, well, just aim to pop the cue ball into the pocket. That's all you've got to do, and then if you play the shot, the ball should go into the pocket like that. The problem with that is snooker is way more precise than just thinking about it in terms of just trying to hit the white into the pocket, and the object ball may get in the way. So if I get another ball here, so let's just get another ball, put it on the pink spot. There'll be times when the pot isn't really absolutely dead straight. So if we look at some of these shots here, you can see that, well, you know, this one would be straight, but if I set up this angle where I've just got a tiny, tiny angle on the object ball that I'm playing, it wouldn't be good enough to just pop the white into the pocket. So you have to make sure that you're still doing your aiming. It's not a trick or a hack that snooker players use to try and just pop the white into the pocket. So you're always making sure that you're looking up at the red, making sure you think that you're definitely going to pot it, do your aiming checks, and you can pull back, hit the shot smoothly, and hopefully you get a nice clean pot. Now, tip number 3 is a very common one and something I see very often in my coaching sessions, and that is that people think that if they hit the cue ball on the left or the right, they make it move to the left or the right, and that is not really what's happening. So if I wanted to pop this blue here and I play top of the cue ball, the white will just follow forward a little bit. It's gone off at a slight angle because I had an angle on the pot. Then if you say to a player, well, how do you get the cue ball to move off and come more in this direction? Players would think that they need to hit the ball more on the left because they need it to encourage it more to go this way. And it's not really the side spin that's helping here, it's the vertical height on the cue ball. If I come lower down on the vertical height, I'll just get the cue ball to come more towards me. So I'm going to hit this shot here, no side spin, just lower down. So lower down on the cue ball. And that's what made it then come more in this direction over there. There's one little thing that side spin does here that helps, and that is that it speeds the cue ball up moving in that direction. So it's already moving in that direction, and if I add left-hand side, it helps it go a bit quicker in that direction. So let's say I need it to go in between these two. I'm not doing that with any side spin. I can just hit in the middle of the cue ball. So I know that top spin took me over here, backspin took me into that red over there. So if I hit in between those 2 points, right in the middle, no side needed, it's bouncing off that object ball to the left. It has to go that way anyway because of the angle, but it's nice to know that we're not doing it using left or right spin on the ball. This next tip is a very important one, and this is that players think that you always need to hit the ball above centre, so you always need to play top if you want the white ball to roll forward. So if I was potting this red and I'm rolling forward for the black, players think that you have to use top spin on the cue ball, and then that's what makes the cue ball move forward and onto that black ball there. But as long as you don't hit too hard, you don't always need to use top spin to make the ball go forward. And that's because if I hit right in the middle here, as long as I don't hit too hard, by the time the white gets to the red, it will just naturally be rolling along the table. So I can actually hit middle of the ball here and not hit too hard, and by the time the white gets to the red, it was just naturally rolling, so it had exactly the same effect as if I had played topspin on the cue ball. It's even possible on these shots that you can actually even hit below centre and still get the white to move forward. Obviously, if I hit below centre too hard, the white will be skidding backwards a bit when it hits that ball. But if I hit a little bit below centre here, and I don't go too hard, so I just hit it quite softly. So even though I've hit below centre there, by the time the white got to the red ball, all the spin had disappeared and it just rolled forward. So a lot of players get that wrong. It's dangerous to always be hitting at the top of the white because you've got to hit so delicately. So if you can, just hit the middle part of the white and you can still roll forward. Now this last tip here is very common. So I've got a ball that's right over the pocket here, and I actually, in this case, I want to bring the cue ball up and back up to this half of the table. Now it's very common here that players actually think that, well, I want the ball to come back up the table, so I need to encourage it. I need to hit with some top-spin. So if I pop this red and I play with top-spin on the cue ball, watch what happens to the cue ball when it hits the red. So I'm hitting it with enough pace. But the cue ball died, so it didn't come back up the table. And that's because here what's actually happening is if I hit that shot with topspin, it wants to rotate forward and come this way. So as soon as it hits this cushion, the ball is encouraged to go back in that direction. So these shots are actually the opposite of what our brain would think. We need to hit backspin, and that will encourage the cue ball up the table. So it's a little bit strange, but if I hit this ball now bottom of the cue ball, we'll see that, so I can still hit it positively, bottom of the cue ball, but watch this time. So I've hit the bottom of the ball, but you see this time, the cue ball has come all the way back up the table. And of course, that time the effect that happened was that when it hit this cushion, because I'd got that backspin on, the second it made contact with this cushion, it was encouraged to come back up the table. So very good tip there, a little bit the opposite of what your brain might be thinking. So, as always, everybody, I really hope you found this video useful. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. For anyone that's interested in any personal one-to-one coaching sessions, I'm working on this very table all the time, helping players to improve their game. All my details are in the description box below, so if you have a look there, contact me, and I'd love to help you with your game. As always, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for next week's video. Cheers.